Hello friends, welcome to this brand new video on the channel. Today I'm gonna give my first opinions about the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War beta. I'm not gonna bore you with any useless information or self-promotion. Let's get right into it. So we're gonna start with the stuff I like, then the stuff that I dislike or that they need to work on, and then I'm gonna tell you my opinion. Am I gonna buy it or not? That's what you're gonna find out at the end. So let's start with the stuff I like. So first thing on my list is the gunplay. The gunplay feels really good. I actually really like it compared to Modern Warfare and also some older games. And I had a ton of fun customizing the weapons and trying out different weapons. On Modern Warfare, I really felt like you could only use a couple weapons, and there were a couple weapons that were really dominant and that the others were not really useful at all. So the gunplay gets a really big thumbs up from me. Also, now we're talking about the weapons, let's also go into the weaponsmith. This is a feature that's returning from Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it's super cool. I like it a lot because it gives YouTubers like me who like making creative class setup videos the exact stats of the weapon and the stats that the attachments change on the weapon. So this makes creative class videos a lot of fun to create and also a lot more easier to find the exact stats and the best weapons in the game. So I was already thinking about making a big Excel sheet with all the best weapons and the stats to find out which weapon is actually the best weapon in the game and change this when the game gets updated and stuff. So if you want to know which weapon you need to use when the game releases, definitely subscribe right now, because here is the first place you're gonna get these tips and these class setups. Enough talk about the weapons, they are amazing as I said, but now let's continue to the doors. And of course most people hated the doors in Modern Warfare. We never really had doors in Call of Duty, and luckily they removed them again. I really back up to Treyarch for doing this, and I feel like Treyarch actually wants to keep the COD franchise Call of Duty. In Modern Warfare they really tried to do different things, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they changed so much stuff that it didn't really feel like Call of Duty. Also, if you add the strong skill-based matchmaking on top of that, it just wasn't a lot of fun to play. But this is the stuff I like section, so let's continue. Let's make another comparison to Modern Warfare again, and let's talk about the movement. The movement in Call of Duty Modern Warfare was pretty alright. I had some fun with it, but still it was not my favorite. I think I'm actually one of the only people that really likes Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. It definitely wasn't the best, and I definitely don't want it to return. So please don't make another jetpack Call of Duty. If we look at some older games like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 1, maybe Ghost, something all like that, those games had amazing movement. And I think they really tried to get back to those older movement systems. Instead of the old dolphin dive, we still have the slide. You're still able to slide cancel in this game, and I don't know, I like using it to get around the map a little bit faster, because sometimes in this game you run pretty slow. It was better if you don't have to use this, and running was a lot faster to do. Something else that fits into the movement is drop shotting. I'm definitely someone that has gotten used to drop shotting, and it's something I do automatically without even thinking about it. It's just something my brain really got used to doing. So when I played Black Ops 4, my brain automatically started drop shotting, and it's just not possible in that game. When you try to drop shot, you automatically stop aiming and start hip firing. I found a way around this, and that's by attaching the laser sights to the weapon. And especially on the MP5, that's just a hip fire beast. So on the one hand they remove drop shotting, but on the other hand you can still do it, and I'm pretty fine with that because it's a dirty tactic I like using. And I think that's one of those things in Call of Duty that it's not really an exploit or something, and it's just something you can learn to get a little bit of an advantage on your opponent. And let's talk about the modes in this game, and let's talk about the modes in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It's still a really long name to say, and I have no idea what we YouTubers are really gonna call it. Is it Cold War? Is it Black Ops Cold War? Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War? I guess I will just be saying Cold War. But let's talk about the modes, and I'm really happy with the modes. So let's start off with the campaign, and I'm really happy with the campaign. The story looks really cool, and I like that they took a real life story and made it fit into the Black Ops universe. Of course they had to change it a bit and put their own twist on it, but as far as we've seen from the trailers, and if you want to see the reaction from me and my girlfriend to the Black Ops Cold War trailer, definitely check it out here. I will make it pop up right now. That video was a lot of fun to make, so definitely check it out after this video. And that trailer got me really excited about the campaign. Also, when Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War releases, the first thing I'm going to be doing is recording an entire walkthrough of the campaign. So if you're excited to see that, also hit the subscribe button down below. So you get it, I'm excited for the campaign. And also, let's talk about the multiplayer right now. These couple days I had hands on with the beta for the multiplayer. Also got me really excited, and I can't wait to see the rest of the game, the rest of the maps, the rest of the weapons. Hopefully they add more weapons, because there was not a lot of weapons in this one, but they will probably add some weapons. I'll talk about the maps and the weapons a little bit later on in the dislike. Of course I also have some dislike, but for right now there is enough content in this game to make it really fun, and hopefully they're not gonna trash the entire store with weird anime weapons and cars like they did in Warzone. But as far as we could play, the multiplayer seemed a lot of fun. Also Fireteam Dirty Bomb seemed a lot of fun to play. It was a little bit chaotic, but I'll talk about that later on in the video. But I really like the concept. You just gotta collect uranium and deposit it at bombs, and when you explode these bombs, you earn points. So I played this with a full lobby of friends, and it was so much fun. So this is another really cool mode. And then let's talk about zombies. The zombies trailer also seemed really fun, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with the zombies universe. It's kind of a new story, but it's still in the same universe, so I'm really excited to see how they're gonna change it and what they're gonna add. I can't wait to play some zombies on the channel. Probably not really long walkthroughs and stuff. I'm not really into the Easter egg side of, but yeah, it still seems a lot of fun to play, so I can't wait. Also, just the entire vibe of the game seems really cool, and I really like the Cold War aesthetic and just the little sounds in the menu, and while you're playing the game, it really creates a really cool and sometimes a little bit scary ambience. So that's always nice to see when they can recreate a really cool vibe when you just start the game. The menu music is also really cool. You have probably heard the menu music on the start of the video, maybe it's still playing right now. I really enjoyed the menu music, so I downloaded it straight away to play in these videos. Now let's talk about the graphics. The graphics are also a big thumbs up for me. I've played it a little bit on PS4 and it still looked pretty good. Of course, it doesn't look as good as PC, but on PC it looks super good, so I can't wait to see how it looks on the new consoles. And I know console generation always gives a big step up for PC graphics too, because a lot of games get made for the consoles and then get ported over to PC. So hopefully this is a big step up for us PC players. And now we're talking about PC, also crossplay is pretty alright. Sadly, in the beta I couldn't see who was using a keyboard, a mouse and a controller, so I was a little bit confused on that, because in Modern Warfare I could see who was playing with mouse and keyboard and a controller. So at some points I got a little bit confused, because a friend of mine in my lobby was playing with mouse and keyboard and I was playing with a controller. So I was just wondering, am I getting matched up with controller players or keyboard and mouse players, and suddenly I couldn't see that. So I hope they add a little icon above the people like they did in Modern Warfare, because it's quite nice to know who you're playing against. But overall crossplay seemed really good, and it's just a really nice feature to have, because also if I would want to buy a next gen console at some point, I can just hit start of the game, buy the game again and just start playing like I used to on PC. I'm probably never gonna switch back, sadly. I like consoles, but just the ease of use and the ease of recording, it seems so much nicer on PC. Now that we're talking about consoles, let's also really quickly talk about this little thing that makes a huge difference on consoles, and of course that's the FOV slider. After years and years of waiting, they finally added it, and definitely for someone like me who plays on PC mainly, that's a really nice thing, because usually when I went back to play older Call of Duties or when I went to play on a console, the field of view is really narrow and you can't really see much around you, and sometimes that's even a little bit nauseating. So it's really nice that we can do this on console. Of course, for someone like me who is a content creator, it's a lot more useful to record on a PC and just play with a controller. I also like that I can adjust a lot of settings to make it play like the way I want it to. So for example, if I'm on really high FPS, I can just put the graphics really low, and if I want the game to look really beautiful, I can max everything out. That's the nice thing about PC, but of course, a lot of people still like the console feeling, and there's nothing wrong with that. So nice to see there isn't really much of an advantage anymore, besides all the customization you can do. So that was a really big list of the stuff I like, and that already says a little bit about my opinion. But I'm gonna wait with telling you my opinion till the end of the video, so don't click off, because these dislikes and stuff they gotta work on is also pretty interesting. So let's start off with the controversial score streak system. Back in Black Ops 2, I really enjoyed the score streak system, but this score streak system is really different from what we used to have. I'm a big fan of the score streak system because I really like playing objective, and you get rewarded for that with the score streak system instead of the kill streak system. But I feel like Activision wants to bring in a lot of new players, and you can really see that with the score streak system. Now everyone can get streaks because it doesn't reset when you die. And yeah, this is nice on one hand, but also it doesn't make getting streaks special anymore. Also, the streaks are really weak in this game, and I think that's because of this new system. I was watching Nero Simula, and he said that you can shoot down a chopper gunner in like 4 seconds. So yeah, if you're grinding the entire game for this one streak and you can just shoot it down in 4 seconds, yeah, that's pretty weak. I actually don't entirely dislike this new system, but I do feel like it doesn't really reward better players. I've got some really cool gameplays in this beta, and I went on some pretty cool streaks, but I just didn't get rewarded for it. And a couple short things, I was trying to throw a lethal grenade, and then it was just taking way too long to throw. In a lot of the older games, you could just throw it somewhere into a window where you know where someone was. But in this game, I really felt like it was a lot harder to time those throwings. So I hope they'll make the throw time a little bit shorter. But overall, it was nothing massive, just a little bit shorter maybe. Also, I found the reloading on some weapons a little bit too long. I hope they maybe change it a little bit. But also, again, not too massive of an issue. It's not like it's taking 5 seconds to reload an SMG or something. Also, somehow people were already cheating in the first day of the beta. beta, so that's a little bit worrying. Seeing how they are trying to handle anti-cheat in Warzone is also a bit worrying, so I hope Treyarch can finally figure out something to stop these cheaters, because cheaters on the first day of the beta doesn't really look good for the entire game. Treyarch always listens a lot more to the community, so hopefully they can try to fix this. Now the thing that I'm going to talk about now is definitely a lot bigger of an issue, and that's people blending into the map. In this game, again, we got operators like in Modern Warfare, and that makes it that you can choose the character that you play as. Of course, that's a lot of fun, you can choose your own character, but unlike Modern Warfare, there aren't any factions in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So almost any match I was playing, everyone is playing as Woods, and now you can't really see who is in the enemy team and who is in your team. So that makes it that everyone is just looking at the health bars. That's definitely a good thing. Health bars are always nice to see, but if the health bar doesn't pop up, you can't really see the enemies. I personally didn't really have much of an issue with this, but I could definitely see how other people, or maybe on console, you couldn't really see anybody because they were just blending into the map and not really standing out. Of course, always later on in the life cycle of the game, the studios add a lot more non-realistic characters. For example, in Advanced Warfare, you had a clown, and yeah, for example, that is something that you can that really stands out on the map. I hope that that's not the solution, to just wait until the shop gets really unrealistic and weird. But maybe they can add some factions, or they can just change the character models maybe a little bit to stand out, or add something just to the characters that makes them stand out. I really hope they can figure something out. I personally don't really have a solution for this, but hopefully the studios can figure it out. Now let's talk about Fireteam Dirty Bomb. The spawns are just horrible. I gotta say it, they are horrible. They really need some work. Most of the time when I was playing Fireteam with some friends, we were trying to fill up one of the bombs, and after like 30 seconds already the entire match was just spawning on us. And it really sucks when you're working hard to try to fill up a bomb and that somebody else can just take it from you and get all the points. Of course, that's how the game mode works, but maybe they can try to figure out something so that you can still work on a point without the entire match spawning on you. I really like the game mode, but still, it just isn't fun if you're trying to work hard for something and there are like 3 different teams spawning on you. Of course, the game mode is designed to be really chaotic, but still, maybe they can tweak it a little bit. Overall, the game mode is fun, but just the spawns needed a bit of work. Something else about the game mode, we're not gonna talk about Team Deathmatch. I gotta say it too. Team Deathmatch is horribly boring. This is probably because the maps are again a little bit bigger, like Modern Warfare. I don't really like the direction that they're going in. Hopefully they can start to go back to some smaller maps, or maybe redesign some old maps. And then I'm talking about just putting some different textures on the map instead of changing all the routes, because that's really bad. They should never do that. But hopefully we can get some smaller maps, because playing Team Deathmatch on these huge maps, just running around like 30 seconds and then finding somebody dying or killing somebody and then having to run around another 20 or 30 seconds, or maybe sometimes even like a minute, is so boring. And then the matches take way too long. This also was an issue in Modern Warfare, where most Team Deathmatch matches were just ended by time instead of going to the point limit. Luckily in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, I think most of the matches were ended by the points in Team Deathmatch, unlike Modern Warfare. So that's a better sign, but still, I found Team Deathmatch extremely boring. So I'm probably never gonna play Team Deathmatch because I'm more of an objectives player, and definitely in this game, I don't like it. Also on the other game modes, the teams spawn back really far in the map, and this makes it that you like need to run like 30 seconds to actually get into action, or just to the area where the action happens. So let's take a map like Standoff in Black Ops 2, and it only took like 10 seconds to get to the middle of the map. So like that's so much action in one map. It was not like it was a small map, it was a pretty big map, but it's just because the team spawns are so well designed that the map never feels way too huge and just feels like a lot of fun. And that's what Call of Duty is. It's just a really arcade shooter. They just die, spawn, and not die, spawn, wait 30 seconds or like even a minute before you find somebody and then kill somebody or die. Like that's not any fun. And for example, for someone above average like me, of course, and most of the gunfights I will win, but for someone who's not really that good at the game, dying and then having to wait like 1 minute to find somebody and then die again, like that's no fun. So hopefully they can try to tweak the spawns a little bit, but I'm not really sure because the game is gonna release in 2 to 3 weeks, so we will see. Also, we haven't seen all maps, but for now the map cartel, I don't know, I don't like it. I like how it plays, but it's just like the bushes You probably heard a lot about the bushes. The bushes are way too huge. They're almost as high as the player model. You can't really look over it. And when you're in the bushes, you can see people clearly. But if you're outside of the bushes, you can't really look into the bushes. So it's really horrible to play. And for people who don't really have any map sense, it's just really annoying because you don't know where people are gonna be or where they can sit. Also, another game that I want to talk about, Kill Confirmed, just like Team Deathmatch, it's just not really fun because of the spawns. I hope they fix this. But again, we will see what they can do. And then before we're gonna go to my final opinion, we're gonna talk about, of course, skill-based matchmaking. I've only played the recent beta on PC, and for my feeling, there wasn't really much skill-based matchmaking. Later on in the weekend, I felt definitely that was getting a little bit stronger, or that it was kicking in. But on the beginning, I was playing against total noob. And maybe that's because I've never played the game, and it was just trying to figure out my skill level. But I've heard some other people say that they felt like it was just turned off, or that they lowered it a lot. Because last weekend in the PS4 beta, people said that the skill-based matchmaking was way too high, way too strong, maybe even stronger than Modern Warfare, they said. But from the beta I played, it didn't really feel that horrible. I actually really liked it, but on the end of the weekend, I felt it kicking in, or I don't know what happened. Maybe they changed something. I saw some playlist updates, and maybe they changed it a bit. I don't know. But it didn't really feel too strong, so I'm not really worried about the final skill-based matchmaking, but I hope they keep it like this weekend. Because on the beginning, I was playing against total noobs, and of course, it shouldn't happen. There's not a lot of fun for new people, and I can see why they want skill-based matchmaking for that reason. But if you're above average like me, and someone like me who really likes the game, who puts a lot of thought into the classes, into tactic, it's just not fun when you don't get rewarded for doing that, and you only get rewarded for that by having to play against. Of course, it's great to play against people from your own skill group, but not from people that are maybe above your skill group, or just people that are sweating the entire match. Also, another reason why people don't like skill-based matchmaking is because of connection. I heard some people say that they are playing against people from different continents. Like, that's a little bit weird. If the skill-based matchmaking is so strong that they value like skill over connection, that's horrible. They shouldn't do that. So hopefully they can keep it like it was in the last beta, or maybe change it a bit, but definitely don't make it stronger. Apparently in the older Call of Duty there was always skill-based matchmaking, and for games like Black Ops 2, I didn't really feel like there was skill-based matchmaking. In the recent years, I've learned about skill-based matchmaking, and I was like, I've never really felt it back in the older Call of Duty. Of course, you had people that were better than you, but playing against better people only motivated me to become better, learn about the game, find the best classes, learn some skills like drop shotting or jump shotting, learning about how the maps work, learning about how the game modes work. That's what I find so much fun about Call of Duty. You can do so much in such a simple game. But just playing a casual match against people who want to become esports pros, like, that's no fun. But overall, I'm pretty fine with what the matchmaking was in this last weekend. So now, after this long video, we finally came to the point where I'm gonna tell you my opinion. Do I like the game? Do I dislike the game? Are there any huge issues preventing me from buying the game? And I can tell you, I am definitely gonna buy this game, and I think everyone around me is gonna buy this game. I heard a ton of YouTubers saying, yeah, the game is not perfect, but we like it. This year is gonna be a great year for Call of Duty. I can just tell that from playing the single beta for like 2 days. I'm so curious about the progression system. Of course, we all want the prestige system to come back, and I didn't really like the battle pass system. But yeah, if that's the only thing that really sucks about the game, I don't care. The game is fun to play, and I've seen a lot of opinions about the game that people say it's a downgrade from Modern Warfare, and I think that's definitely a good thing. I like that Call of Duty is taking a step back to the actual Call of Duty vibe, to just the arcade shooter that we know. Of course, the maps are still a bit bigger, but maybe if this is the direction that it's gonna keep going, we will finally get some smaller maps and just go back to like the Black Ops 2 era, Modern Warfare 3 era, maybe even Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 2. Like, those days were the golden days. For playing the game right now, I feel like it's gonna be a great year. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this game. I'm gonna create so much videos on it, and I'm already planning on doing so many videos. I'm recording some videos before the game comes out, so I can release these for you guys. So if you want to know the best class setups, just the campaign, if you just anything, I'm gonna upload so much content about this game. So if you haven't subscribed already, definitely do that right now, because you don't want to miss this. This year is gonna be amazing. Maybe this is also the year that I'm gonna play a lot of zombies again. That will be a lot of fun. Maybe this is also a year that zombies is gonna be a lot of fun again. I heard that zombies series was really good in Black Ops 4, but I just didn't really put any time into it because since Black Ops 3, I felt like zombies was becoming a lot more complex and just not like the simple zombies experience, just doing a couple of Easter eggs trying to stay alive. That's what I like doing. So again, if you're also really excited, give a like and subscribe and let me know what type of videos you want to watch this year, and I will definitely provide those to you. So thanks for watching and continue watching this video that's showing up on the screen right now. I hope you're gonna like all the videos that I'm gonna release this year. And lastly, have a great day. Bye! I've heard a lot of people say just go back to the old score streak system. That way you die, you lose all your points and you gotta get your streak back up. And you know what? They could do this, but they're probably not gonna do this. So the thing that they can do is make rewarding objective players and people that are actually really good at the game, rewarding them with extra points. So for example, if you're capping a lot of objectives like me, I want to see that back in the score streaks I'm earning. This also makes people play for the objective a lot more, and maybe they can finally get people to play the objective in Call of Duty. As I already said a little bit, there aren't really much weapons, but it's also like there are no weapons in the game. I really like the variation of weapons that are in the game, but still I hope they add a lot more weapons in the game because there was like only 2 snipers. I hope this doesn't mean that they're gonna sell these weapons in the shop and that they're gonna release these ones with DLC, because of course we don't have loot boxes anymore. I really hope that we don't get those back anymore. But with losing loot boxes, we got this awful shop where we can't just buy normal camos anymore and we need to buy like entire weapon packs, and I really dislike that. I remember in Black Ops 2 just buying a really cool camo for like €2 and applying that to all my weapons. Like a 12-year-old me could pay €2 for a really cool camo and get really excited about that, but having to buy an entire weapon spec with a camo for one weapon for like €10 or sometimes even €20, like that's so expensive and just not a lot of fun. Of course, Activision gives a lot of these COD points to content creators. Yeah, they get to play with these weapons, but just a normal player like me is not gonna spend €10 on a single weapon camo. I'm pretty fine with the battle pass, but also yeah, it sucks that you need to grind really hard to get like one weapon. There's nothing really wrong with just grinding for a weapon, but it's still nice to use the weapons that everyone else also has. So I hope they add a couple weapons more, not too much, but just a couple for us to play around with. And a couple short things. I was trying to throw a lethal grenade and it was just taking way too long to throw. In a lot of the older games, you could just throw it somewhere into a window where you know where someone was. But in this game, I really felt like it was a lot harder to time those throwings, so I hope they'll make the throw time a little bit shorter, but overall it was nothing massive, just a little bit shorter maybe. Also, I found the reloading on some weapons a little bit too long. I hope they maybe change it a little bit, but also again, not too massive of an issue. It's not like it's taking 5 seconds to reload an SMG or something. Also, somehow people were already cheating in the first day of the beta, so that's a little bit worrying. Seeing how they are trying to handle anti-cheat in Warzone is also a bit worrying, so I hope Treyarch can finally figure out something to stop these cheaters, because cheaters on the first day of the beta doesn't really look good for the entire game. Treyarch always listens a lot more to the community, so hopefully they can try to fix this. Now the thing that I'm going to talk about now is definitely a lot bigger of an issue, and that's people blending into the map. In this game, again, we got operators like in Modern Warfare, and that makes it that you can choose the character that you play as. Of course, that's a lot of fun, you can choose your own character, but unlike Modern Warfare, there aren't any factions in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So almost any match I was playing, everyone is playing as Woods, and now you can't really see who is in the enemy team and who is in your team. So that makes it that everyone is just looking at the health bars. That's definitely a good thing. Health bars are always nice to see, but if the health bar doesn't pop up, you can't really see the enemies. I personally didn't really have much of an issue with this, but I could definitely see how other people, or maybe on console, you couldn't really see anybody because they were just blending into the map and not really standing out. Of course, always later on in the life cycle of the game, the studios add a lot more non-realistic characters. For example, in Advanced Warfare, you had a clown, and yeah, for example, that is something that you can that really stands out on the map. I hope that that's not the solution, to just wait until the shop gets really unrealistic and weird. But maybe they can add some factions, or they can just change the character models maybe a little bit to stand out, or add something just to the characters that makes them stand out. I really hope they can figure something out. I personally don't really have a solution for this, but hopefully the studios can figure it out. Now let's talk about Fireteam Dirty Bomb. The spawns are just horrible. I gotta say it, they are horrible. They really need some work. Most of the time when I was playing Fireteam with some friends, we were trying to fill up one of the bombs, and after like 30 seconds already the entire match was just spawning on us. And it really sucks when you're working hard to try to fill up a bomb and that somebody somebody else can just take it from you and get all the points. Of course, that's how the game mode works, but maybe they can try to figure out something so that you can still work on a point without the entire match spawning on you. I really like the game mode, but still, it just isn't fun if you're trying to work hard for something and there are like 3 different teams spawning on you. Of course, the game mode is designed to be really chaotic, but still, maybe they can tweak it a little bit. Overall, the game mode is fun, but just the spawns needed a bit of work. Something else about the game mode, we're not gonna talk about Team Deathmatch. I gotta say it too. Team Deathmatch is horribly boring. This is probably because the maps are again a little bit bigger, like Modern Warfare. I don't really like the direction that they're going in. Hopefully they can start to go back to some smaller maps or maybe redesign some old maps. And then I'm talking about just putting some different textures on the map instead of changing all the routes, because that's really bad. They should never do that. But hopefully we can get some smaller maps, because playing Team Deathmatch on these huge maps, just running around like 30 seconds and then finding somebody dying or killing somebody and then having to run around another 20 or 30 seconds or maybe sometimes even like a minute is so boring, and then the matches take way too long. This also was an issue in Modern Warfare where most Team Deathmatch matches were just ended by time instead of going to the point limit. Luckily in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, I think most of the matches were ended by the points in Team Deathmatch, unlike Modern Warfare. So that's a better sign, but still, I found Team Deathmatch extremely boring. So I'm probably never gonna play Team Deathmatch because I'm more of an objectives player, and definitely in this game, I don't like it. Also on the other game mode, the teams spawn back really far in the map, and this makes it that you like need to run like 30 seconds to actually get into action or just to the area where the action happens. So let's take a map like Standoff in Black Ops 2, and it only took like 10 seconds to get to the middle of the map. So like that's so much action in one map. It was not like it was a small map, it was a pretty big map, but it's just because the team spawns are so well designed that the map never feels way too huge and just feels like a lot of fun. And that's what Call of Duty is. It's just a really arcade shooter. They just die, spawn, and not die, spawn, wait 30 seconds or like even a minute before you find somebody and then kill somebody or die. Like that's not any fun. And for example, for someone above average like me, of course, most of the gunfights I will win, but for someone who's not really that good at the game, dying and then having to wait like 1 minute to find somebody and then die again, like that's no fun. So hopefully they can try to tweak the spawns a little bit, but I'm not really sure because the game is gonna release in 2 to 3 weeks, so we will see. Also, we haven't seen all maps, but for now the map Cartel, I don't know, I don't like it. I like how it plays, but it's just like the bushes. You probably heard a lot about the bushes. The bushes are way too huge. They're almost as high as the player model. You can't really look over it. And when you're in the bushes, you can see people clearly. But if you're outside of the bushes, you can't really look into the bushes. So it's really horrible to play. And for people who don't really have any map sense, it's just really annoying because you don't know where people are gonna be or where they can sit. Also, another game that I want to talk about, Kill Confirmed, just like Team Deathmatch, it's just not really fun because of the spawns. I hope they fix this. But again, we will see what they can do. And then before we're gonna go to my final opinion, we're gonna talk about, of course, skill-based matchmaking. I've only played the recent beta on PC, and for my feeling, there wasn't really much skill-based matchmaking. Later on in the weekend, I felt definitely that was getting a little bit stronger, or that it was kicking in. But on the beginning, I was playing against total noob. And maybe that's because I've never played the game, and it was just trying to figure out my skill level. But I've heard some other people say that they felt like it was just turned off, or that they lowered it a lot. Because last weekend in the PS4 beta, people said that the skill-based matchmaking was way too high, way too strong, maybe even stronger than Modern Warfare, they said. But from the beta I played, it didn't really feel that horrible. I actually really liked it, but on the end of the weekend, I felt it kicking in, or I don't know what happened. Maybe they changed something. I saw some playlist updates, and maybe they changed it a bit. I don't know. But it didn't really feel too strong, so I'm not really worried about the final skill-based matchmaking, but I hope they keep it like this weekend. Because on the beginning, I was playing against total noobs, and of course, it shouldn't happen. There's not a lot of fun for new people, and I can see why they want skill-based matchmaking for that reason. But if you're above average like me, and someone like me who really likes the game, who puts a lot of thought into the classes, into tactic, it's just not fun when you don't get rewarded for doing that. Of course, it's great to play against people from your own skill group, but not from people that are maybe above your skill group, or just people that are sweating the entire match. Also, another reason why people don't like skill-based matchmaking is because of connection. progression. I heard some people say that they are playing against people from different continents. Like, that's a little bit weird. If the skill-based matchmaking is so strong that they value like skill over connection, that's horrible. They shouldn't do that. So hopefully they can keep it like it was in the last beta, or maybe change it a bit, but definitely don't make it stronger. Apparently in the older Call of Duties there was always skill-based matchmaking, and for games like Black Ops 2 I didn't really feel like there was skill-based matchmaking. In the recent years I've learned about skill-based matchmaking, and I was like, I've never really felt it back in the older Call of Duties. Of course you had people that were better than you, but playing against better people only motivated me to become better, learn about the game, find the best classes, learn some skills like drop shotting or jump shotting, learning about how the maps work, learning about how the game modes work. That's what I find so much fun about Call of Duty. You can do so much in such a simple game. But just playing a casual match against people who want to become esports pros, like, that's no fun. But overall I'm pretty fine with what the matchmaking was in this last weekend. So now after this long video we finally came to the point where I'm gonna tell you my opinion. Do I like the game? Do I dislike the game? Are there any huge issues preventing me from buying the game? And I can tell you I am definitely gonna buy this game, and I think everyone around me is gonna buy this game. I heard a ton of YouTubers saying, yeah, the game is not perfect, but we like it. This year is gonna be a great year for Call of Duty. I can just tell that from playing the single beta for like 2 days. I'm so curious about the progression system. Of course we all want the prestige system to come back, and I didn't really like the battle pass system, but yeah, if that's the only thing that really sucks about the game, I don't care. The game is fun to play, and I've seen a lot of opinions about the game that people say it's a downgrade from Modern Warfare, and I think that's definitely a good thing. I like that Call of Duty is taking a step back to the actual Call of Duty vibe, to just the arcade shooter that we know. Of course the maps are still a bit bigger, but maybe if this is the direction that it's gonna keep going, we will finally get some smaller maps and just go back to like the Black Ops 2 era, Modern Warfare 3 era, maybe even Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 2. Like, those days were the golden days. For playing the game right now, I feel like it's gonna be a great year. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this game. I'm gonna create so much videos on it, and I'm already planning on doing so many videos. I'm recording some videos before the game comes out, so I can release these for you guys. So if you want to know the best class setups, just the campaign, if you just anything, I'm gonna upload so much content about this game. So if you haven't subscribed already, definitely do that right now, because you don't want to miss this. This year is gonna be amazing. Maybe this is also the year that I'm gonna play a lot of zombies again. That would be a lot of fun. Maybe this is also a year that zombies is gonna be a lot of fun again. I heard that zombies was really good in Black Ops 4, but I just didn't really put any time into it, because since Black Ops 3 I felt like zombies was becoming a lot more complex and just not like the simple zombies experience, just doing a couple of Easter eggs trying to stay alive. That's what I like doing. So again, if you're also really excited, give a like and subscribe, and let me know what type of videos you want to watch this year, and I will definitely provide those to you. So thanks for watching, and continue watching this video that's showing up on the screen right now. I hope you're gonna like all the videos that I'm gonna release this year, and lastly, have a great day. Bye!